Welcome to this session tonight, to you friends here at the center, and to you who are joining us online. Meditation is a practice that is progressive. If we persevere, our meditation will help us to find calm, peace, and relaxation, independent of outer circumstances. Our practice session will become a welcome and necessary part of our daily activities. But with meditation, there are further progressive developments which are far-reaching and transformative. For meditation will open our mind to a degree of peace, expansion of consciousness, depth of understanding, and freedom that is not available or achievable by any outer means. Therefore, this makes meditation in its own way extraordinary and exciting. Yes, truly exciting, because of this wonderful potential for self-development. But as with all things, this progress is not automatic. We have to give meditation that little bit extra, which really brings it to life within us. And most important, keeps it alive. And we have to keep it alive. Don't let the practice of meditation become merely repetitive and uncreative. For if this happens, we may find that we have slipped into certain habits which are not part of the instructions. And such habits, unless detected and corrected, will hinder our progress. As an example, based on the meditation practice we follow here, it is recommended that we start the practice by spending 1 or 2 minutes in a spirit of reverence. This makes our mind receptive and frees it from egoism. But some may feel that this is not really necessary and that what matters is the power of our will and the concentration it can sustain. If this is so, then we will habitually ignore the reverence instruction and go forward in the way we think is best. In this case, our meditation is likely to be accompanied by an unconscious egoism that in turn will prevent us from entering the deeper self-knowledge. To consciously begin with reverence reminds us and connects us with the deeper self at the core of our being. Yes, friends, we do need to cultivate willpower. But we also need to keep an open mind as we turn our thoughts to a deeper reality that transcends personality and is infinite. The way to ensure that our meditation is done in the best possible way and is genuinely progressive is to partner our practice with an active interest in its deeper meaning. It's also true that our daily practice can be effective, even life-changing, without our necessarily knowing much about the theory or principles on which meditation is based. And of course, what really matters is to do the practices rather than read about them. Yet our progress in meditation will be greatly helped by knowing a little about the way of thinking that lies behind it. We find that this in turn will deepen our self-knowledge, because to read about meditation is to learn more about the ways of our mind, and not least to learn about the path of higher wisdom that will in the end enable us to transcend the mind. In this way, we will get to know something of the higher potentialities that are awaiting unfoldment within us. Unfoldment within us. Now, when we talk about higher potentialities in the context of meditation, something very special is meant that is quite different from the potentialities that are developed in the normal course of our education and working life. Most of the potentialities promoted in society are to do with our intellectual development, often linked to some practical skill we have learned to master. We may also have learned to manage our feelings, our emotions, in such a way that we live and move with other people in harmony and goodwill. All this leaves us with a mind that is intellectually active, socially sensitive, and capable of deeper thoughts if time permits. So what more do we need? But what seems to be left out of this curriculum, except in rare instances, is any guidance in learning to calm and restrain our thoughts and to know why it is worthwhile to do so. The fact is, we do have deeper needs, and our mind can never be wholly satisfied with the social and intellectual development we have outlined. Our inner life not only profits from expression, activity, and acquisition, part of us craves peace, expansion of consciousness, free from all complications and entanglements. In a word, our nature has a yearning for freedom. It is in this inner training, the conscious cultivation of peace of mind, that we can learn much from the writings of those who have given meditation a prominent place in life. From these sources, we learn how our mind does harbor within its depth a latent capacity so superior to our normal intellectual range that its release and awakening brings complete fulfillment. And we discover that the calmness of mind, and focused thought that we cultivate in meditation are not ends in themselves. No. But the conditions, the interior qualifications through which the highest, purest, most expansive experience possible can manifest. Our mind has higher potentialities related to our deeper infinite nature. If we can manage to regularize our practice of meditation and keep our interest alive and growing, we will become aware of the real value of our own being, and that we have only to seek within to discover the source of ultimate fulfillment. So let us now approach this deeper reality within ourselves And we begin our practice by sitting for a minute or two in calm, reverence, and receptivity. Let us now do a breathing practice. We breathe slowly, drawing up the in-breath as if from the navel to the point between the eyebrows. We establish a rhythm, if possible, in-breath and out-breath, the same length. And then we add on the in-breath the word tranquility, tranquility. And on the out-breath, harmony, harmony. We know that deep breathing is used in many contexts to refresh the body and calm the mind. If we're stressed, deep breathing can restore our sense of balance and perspective. Now, when we add a keyword to the practice, such as tranquility or harmony or both, we are bringing to life that deeper center of peace, power, and freedom. We are coming back to ourselves as it is in truth, free from the coverings of thought and without a limit. This means that within this simple breathing practice, there is a potential opening, a potential attunement with that in us which is free and limitless, a potency embedded in our own consciousness. And we do the breathing together now for about 4 minutes. I'll start and finish with Om, and now shall repeat it a few times. Om. Breathe slowly, drawing up the in-breath as if from the navel to the point between the eyebrows, and let go. Breathe in this way a few times. We breathe slightly more deeply than usual. And when we're ready, we add on the in-breath, tranquility, tranquility. And on the out-breath, harmony, harmony. Conscious breathing. Tranquility. Harmony. Harmony. Long, deep breaths. A few more rounds. Open up your channel. Tranquility. Harmony. Om. Now we come to our visualization. Imagine that the morning sun, in all its purity and splendor, is shining in the heart center. We visualize the sun, the morning sun, radiating here, filling our body with light, and then sending out rays of peace and plenty and power. The visualization is a practice in focusing our mind and also a help in awakening our sensitivity to what we may call the power behind the mind, which is our innermost consciousness. The physical sun is a symbol of that consciousness. Such an image has the power to bring to life in us a faculty that relates to the deeper reality of our being. To achieve this inner picture, we need to apply both our imagination and our will. We need our imagination to visualize the image and our will to hold the picture in our mind. But there is no strain or tension. And as we rest our attention on this image, take it that it represents something more than the play of imagination, and that it points to something deep and unlimited, symbolized by the sun. And we will do the visualization in 3 stages, and I will signify the transition from one stage to the next. Imagine that the morning sun, in all its purity and splendor, is shining in the heart center. Is shining in the heart center. The morning sun, in all its purity and splendor, is shining in the heart center. And now the light from the sun in the heart center spreads to fill our whole body. Let it spread to fill your whole body. The light that fills our whole body now spreads in all directions. It spreads in all directions to fill and illumine all that we are aware of. Let it spread all around you and further. Let it spread far and wide, joining up with light. All light. Now we come to our meditation text. Om. Every mind is lit with eternal consciousness. Myself is that consciousness, infinite, self-illumined, ever achieved. The meditation text is another pointer to our nature as light, the revealing light of consciousness, the light that has its source in our true self. This light does not belong to anyone because it is the true nature of everyone. Every mind is lit ultimately by the same light. Just as millions of waves in the ocean reflect the same sun. That light is one without a second. The text is positive, affirmative. Part of its effectiveness for us is that during these minutes of meditation, we feel it is true. at this very moment, at the deepest level of our being. Yes, it is true. When we do the meditation, we can repeat the text to ourselves inwardly and slowly and let it sink in, or we may choose to focus on the part of the text. If the mind wanders, bring it back calmly. Bring it back. Bring it back. If necessary, take a few deep breaths, as we did in our breathing exercise, and then direct your attention once more to the text. So let us meditate together now. Every mind is lit with eternal consciousness. Myself is that consciousness, infinite, self-illumined, ever achieved. Om. Every mind is lit with eternal consciousness. Myself is that consciousness, infinite, self-illumined, ever achieved. Om. My mind is lit with eternal consciousness. Myself is that consciousness. infinite, self-illumined, ever achieved. Take a few conscious breaths if necessary, but stay awake. Once more, turn within. My mind is lit with eternal consciousness. Myself is that consciousness, infinite, self-illumined, ever achieved. Friends, we're all parts of that great whole called reality. If we choose, we can focus on our separative existence as individuals, or we can choose to view ourselves as essentially one with the whole, our innermost self, at one with the self of all. So in our final practice, we remember that oneness and send out thoughts of peace and goodwill to all, without exception. We do this for a minute or two. Friends, thank you for your attention and participation.